Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Weekly Sports Network. My name is Lucas Treman, and I'm going to be here with well, let's start it out real quick. The World Baseball Classic finale. Now, again, I'm supposed to start these on Monday, but I didn't. So you're getting this on Wednesday. Deal with it. It was USA versus Japan, and the game was really good. Very, very, very good, especially for World Baseball Classic. I didn't expect that. The whole game came down to a shootout between Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout. So, two of my personal favorite players, personally. Um, Pretty much guaranteed Hall of Famers at this point, both of them. USA lost, which sucks, but I mean, come on, they're going against Shohei Ohtani at the end. Shohei Ohtani at the end, yeah. Like, what are you gonna do? It's Shohei Ohtani. Like, you're not gonna win. Like, you're not. But yeah, I think USA was down by. I think with the batting order, I think it was two regular guys went up for USA. They both got out, and for USA to really have a chance of, I guess, overtime, they attempted and failed. Wheezy, go away. My cat's in my room now. Why are you here? What do you want? Why are you so loud? Okay, you can come up. But as I deal with this, we've ever seen this replay, or at least this angle, and it was the same crash that we saw. Like, it wasn't new. It was the restart crash where Almirola almost flipped. Well, it showed Tyler Reddick spinning through the infield. I don't know how he got that far down, but once he hit, like, so the track has an infield road course, or not road course. This is an infield oval in the trioval. The car went around, hit the hit, it's short track is asphalt, but the infield is grass. So you have like asphalt sections and grass sections. Well, he hit the lip between a grass section and an asphalt section, and the car jumped up on two wheels and almost flipped over. This is the first time we ever saw this. Brilliant. Brilliant. Ow, quit. Stabbed me in my leg. But yeah, BattleBots. Yeah, we're doing this now, alright? If BattleBots puts it on the YouTube channel, I'm going to talk about it, alright? The fights kind of suck this week. Oh, why is there so much hair everywhere? Chill out. Oh my god, you need to give me some room, cat. But yeah, BattleBots occurred, which I mean, it's BattleBots. I mean, everyone here should have heard about BattleBots. Like, come on. If you haven't, go check it out. It's fucking amazing. But yeah, it's just vertical spinner versus vertical spinner every time. So you get what you get. Mad Catter versus the Pickle. I'm gonna call it the Pickle from here on out. Mad Catter won via judge's decision. Fair. Fight was kind of boring. There's some big hits, but that's about it. Whiplash versus Monsoon. That was the fight I was looking forward to. Whiplash won it by split judge's decision, which means that two of the three judges agreed that Whiplash should have won. And Whiplash did win. Good win, honestly. It was pretty tight between them, but I think Whiplash just had the advantage at the end. Monsoon just couldn't keep up at the very end. And, however, Whiplash did start falling apart along with Monsoon, which, that's typically how it goes. The whole thing is just endurance, but they had another fight, but, of course, kind of boring. I think it ended in knockout, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure the people who were involved didn't write that in the notes. But the NFL draft. Oh my god, that sound was the cat hitting her head on the phone. Why are you stabbing my leg again? There is hair all over my computer. Wheezy. Oh my god. Why are you... Stop hitting the... Ow! Oh my god. You're gonna have to get down. You're a giant cat. You weigh like 80 pounds. You need to get down. You need to stop. At least chill out. But, yeah, Bryce Young's washed ass is probably gonna go number one. Like, this guy is so overhyped. He's from Alabama. He's not that good. Every Alabama game I saw him play, he's just getting tackled because of its own fault. Like, he gets himself sacked half the time, and if he's not, he's throwing fucking picks and incompletes. Bro sucks. I don't care if he made one lucky throw. Like, I do not care. All right. The reason why I don't like Patrick Mahomes, despite that one singular throw, is because he does it multiple times, along with creating his own play style. This man is generic and he sucks. He's not gonna go in the NFL very far. I really don't see much in him. Watch him go fucking 7 times. Watch him go 7. Oh God, he's gonna be the next Brady. He's not gonna be the next Brady. He's either going to be a big ass bust, and I'm calling it now. He's going to be the biggest bust in NFL history, or, hear me out. I don't know. I really don't expect him to do anything. But yeah, Milwaukee versus Denver. This is a NBA game. I get March Madness is going on, but I didn't give a fuck, and there weren't any good games on, so I decided, fuck it, we watching Milwaukee. Gunfight. I mean, who are the people? I know I got them written down. It was Lopez and Jokovic on Denver, or Jokic. Jokic and Lopez were for Denver, and Milwaukee had Giannis. Basically, you have Jokic coming up. Jokic was what position does he play? He's point guard, I think. I think they have him on point guard on defense, but. He's a 7 feet tall, big ass dude. Shoots really well from mid range, and they subbed Jokic in I think halfway through when the game was pretty even, so it didn't make much difference. And then I think what happened once halfway started, Lopez got benched and Jokic went in. I think the score was 50-50 by then. Game ended 98 to 117 or something goofy like that. Crazy. The game was a gunfight too. It was a good game. You see that score and you think, holy shit, that game must have sucked. But it didn't. It was good. I think Giannis went up by I think 10. Milwaukee was up by 10. It was 60 to 50 at one point. And then it went to what was the score? It was I think it went to 70 to 80, and then it went to 95 and 80, and then it kept piling up until they got blown out. So yeah, it was a great game. Honestly, it was a good game. I learned a lot playing. I learned a lot watching. What else? Oh yeah. Denver has some crazy ass strategy, and what is it called? A screen. Yeah, they had some nasty ass screens. Yeah, that was pretty cool to see live. But who else? I think Denver had a guy. This may not have been that game. There may have been another game. Hold on, I'm looking. No. I think it was a guy on there was a guy on the Denver side who was shooting 18 points in the first quarter. I'm not sure who it was, but someone was dropping bombs. It may have been a March Madness game. I think it was a March Madness game. I don't have it written down though, so I don't know. Probably was Denver. But yeah, let's get into the car racing. All right, car rating. The Truck Series at COTA. This is the first time NASCAR ever ended a stage without bringing out a caution. And I think every person in the field had never... That's probably the first time that 99% of the field in that truck race ever didn't slow down whenever the stage ended. But yeah, the image of a crew member sitting in the back of Ross Chastain's truck was goofy. So Ross Chastain was running this event, and I think he had a fuel pump issue. I think it was. He had a fuel something issue, and the only way they could really fix was lifting up the rear flap of the back of the truck, and sitting on the fuel tank to fix it, which involves them getting in the truck, which is pretty funny. There's probably a photo of it. But not much happened during the race except for the finish. The finish was crazy. All right, Weez, I need you to get down. I need you to get down. What was that meow? That was a new one. What are you, old? You gotta get down. Alright, gentlemen, we are back. Technical difficulties. Only minor. Only minor. Never mind. You know what? Truck Series at COTA. Yeah, we're gonna start out with the finish. Nothing happened during the race except Ben Rose's drivetrain falling out mid-race. That was pretty goofy. I won't even lie to y'all. The car was driving down the main straight. Then a bunch of debris fell out the back, which would have been crazy to see live, but Fox completely missed it. Completely dropped the bag on that. Apparently, people were like driving around the truck trying to get by him, and apparently, like the broadcasters were freaking out, like "Whoa!" But we never saw that. So amazing. Honestly, great broadcast. It wasn't. It sucked. Just like every single truck COTA race. Well, not truck COTA, but like just truck race. Broadcast is ass every time. But yeah. Zane Smith beat out 2 Cub drivers to win, which were Kyle Busch and Ross Chastain. And Kyle Busch was in the KBM truck too, which was terrifying. And then he went to do a burnout, which is standard. He did the first burnout, which went perfectly fine. Great burnout. And then he parked it against the pit wall, and he kind of pushed the nose into the pit wall and slammed on the throttle, which looks really cool. It produces a lot of smoke. However, recently NASCAR has created a package where you can now run on racetracks when it's wet. Back in the day, you couldn't do that, you would die. But now they have the technology. And with that technology comes mud flaps. You see, NASCAR learned their lesson and decided that instead of having, instead of just having a giant spray kick up behind the car, now we have flaps to stop that. Well, that flap stops everything coming from the tire, the rear tire, which includes a lot of burnt rubber. You can see where this is going. It set the back half of the truck on fire. He won the race, did a victory burnout, got out of the car, black smoke came up, look, the camera panned down, and the left rear is engulfed in flames. Then the right rear got engulfed in flames. It makes sense whenever you watch the video. It's hard to explain, but yeah, honestly, pretty alright. Xfinity COTA. I watched this race and I didn't write any notes down, so you're gonna get the memory version, which sucks. 30 spins. That's not an accurate number, but there was a ton of spins. Josh Berry destroyed the front half of his car before turn 1. He was braking on the first turn of the first lap and shoved in the nose when he slammed into someone's back. Is Riley Herbst good? No, he is not, but he's outperforming Cole Custer, who sucks. So that's like comparing fucking. That's like, hey, here's dog shit. Make something like whatever's better is amazing. And Brandon Jones got a flat tire and shredded the front corner of his car off. I think it was the front left that completely came off the car. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Like the track's 3.4 miles long. Josh Berry. So Cole Custer and Josh Berry made contact during the race. Cole Custer went spinning out of control. It didn't hit anything, but lost a ton of track position. That may have just ended Cole Custer's NASCAR career. Like, I hate to say it, but Cole Custer, he got spun. Like, he spins out, and he goes from running top 10 to 40th. That sucks. That really does. And then the race ended with, I think AJ Allmendinger won it, which that AJ Allmendinger winning is like, it's like going back into the 1960s and hoping someone other than the Celtics win the NBA championship. Like, it just doesn't happen. Like, he wins like 9 out of 10 of the road course races he's in the Xfinity Series. Trans Am race. This right here. Ooh. This is going to be race of the year. Good race. Very good. big crash occurs. That big crash was including a guy called Scott Borchetta. Now, if you're a Swiftie, you know who Scott Borchetta is. But Scott Borchetta, he owned this thing called Big Machine. It's a slogan that he put on like Big Machine Racing, Big Machine Vodka, and Big Machine record label, where he then signed Taylor Swift. Well, Taylor Swift, she wasn't very big. She wasn't very big, but Scott Borchetta saw a lot in her, and so he boosted her career a ton. And whenever it came time, I think it was Swift's sixth studio album, like her sixth album, which made millions. Scott Borchetta was like, "Hey, we signed this contract saying that you would give me a portion of all the money, so give me millions," which Swift did not like. And she basically said, "You know what, fuck you, we're done." And they stopped working together. Well, Scott Borchetta decided, fuck it, we're going Trans Am racing of all things. Then had a brake failure and slammed driver's side first into the tire wall in turn 1 at Road Atlanta. It was a very scary crash on TV. I think, what were they saying? They were like, oh yeah, full course caution. We had a crash in turn 1. And then they cut to the car, and you can see like a hole in the barrier, and the entire driver's side area is shoved in like a foot. It was horrific. Like, I didn't know those cars bent like that. Like, I know that with Trans Am cars, they're a lot more fragile than any other car. And they're probably the most unsafe of all the stock car racing series. But I didn't expect the entire side to get shredded off like that. Like, at the time, I didn't know who Scott Borchetta really was. I thought he was just another race car driver. But no, he wasn't. He was the owner of the team. I think Borchetta Racing. Well, no, not Borchetta Racing. It was Big Machine Racing. That was the team that owned the car. And Scott Borchetta pretty much pays everybody. He pays everybody's salary whenever they go to tracks, whenever they have events. He's pretty much the face of Trans Am. And I think what happened was they went under red flag conditions. In Trans Am, they call it black flag, which just doesn't make sense and has no continuity with any other racing series, but what would I care? Borchetta, they weren't giving us any information about him, and they weren't showing replays, and they weren't giving like any information. They weren't even talking about him, which everybody pretty much agreed, yeah, he's probably dead. Which really reminded me of that time. Who was it? Well, it was the Chili Bowl this year. I need to make a video about this, dude. Y'all are gonna love this. It was during the Chili Bowl. I think it was Thursday night. Who was it? It wasn't Torgerson. Yeah, Austin Torgerson. He was a 16-year-old sprint car driver, and it was on the back straight of the Chili Bowl, which is a 1/5 mile track. A fifth of a mile is small as hell. All right, I think that's the smallest racetrack configuration that you can put actual cars on. And he hit the wall, nosed in with the front left, and then flipped over, and he kind of cartwheeled. That's a generic sprint car crash. What wasn't generic was him hitting his head on the front pillar and then flying out of the car during the flip. He was ejected. Alright? Literally ejected. He went out of the vehicle. That's what that reminded me of. Like, I had the same vibe of, they're not giving us any information. We just saw this horrific accident. No one's saying anything. No one's showing any replays. People in the broadcast booth aren't saying anything. He's probably dead. He probably hit something the wrong way and now his neck is snapped. That's pretty much what we got. Except, here's what we got. Going into, I think, Tuesday. Tuesday was, when did I make the tweet? I think I made the tweet Monday afternoon. On Monday afternoon, all we had to go off of for what happened in the crash was one statement from Big Machine Racing and I think there's one like quick little snippet and two photos. One was a photo of the crash, which showed the aftermath, and the other was the photo of the in-car camera, which has now turned into lost media. Um, it's I think it's on the verge of Dale Earnhardt in-car camera, which did exist. Dale Earnhardt Sr. had an in-car camera during the 2001 Daytona 500. I hate to be that guy, but that exists somewhere. That absolutely exists. Um, but yeah, that was. I think he was going 116 miles an hour sideways when he hit the wall. I think I'm the only person who noticed this, but when he hit the wall, he broke it. Like, the wall had these concrete pillars, like the concrete blocks you see on like a median of a highway, with I think a chain link fence built into it that was reinforced, along with tires in front of it, and it was moved back like 2 feet. And I guess they tried to just end the race because they really went back to racing. I think the race was under red flag conditions for about 30 minutes, which most of that time was spent with the safety team cutting Scott Borchetta out of the car and loading him into the ambulance. Because it's hard to get out of a car when, your goddamn pelvis and 80 of your ribs are broken. I don't know his injuries. I really don't know. All the Swifties on Twitter were like, "Yeah, I hope he's dead," which was kind of goofy. Like someone gotta, hey, y'all gotta chill out. Did he really do bad? Yeah, probably. He did like, oh yeah, multi-level marketing. No, not multi-level. MLN. Yeah. What? A multimedia network. Yeah, MMN. Yeah, multimedia network. He basically did that to her, if you know what that is. Um. So yeah, that was horrific. Red flag for 30 minutes. Hold up. But yeah, he was. I don't know what happened to him, but red flag for 30 minutes. Race was shortened because of scheduling. Like they had more events coming, but they have to get those events in. They can't just run the full race. I think the race was shortened by like I think 15 laps or something like that. It was like a 40 lap race. But race ended when someone got stuck in the gravel and then the rain came, which was pretty scary because these cars were on the dry setup and nobody was going to come into the pits for half a lap. Like the race was going to like everyone knew the caution was going to come out and they were going to end the race, but no one was going to be like, well, we might want to come into pits so we don't crash the car. No, everyone was like, we're going to keep racing until they throw the caution. Well, it was raining, and I think 5 or 6 cars flew off the track. Some of them probably crashed. Some of them had to have crashed. Like, come on. But yeah, to this day, we still don't have a video of the crash. Like, we still don't, which he's not dead though. I mean, I think he was conscious and he was talking to the people there, which pretty much means he's not dead. They would have announced he was dead by now if he actually was dead. But the Cup Series at COTA. And trust me, we got March Madness after this. And then Washington versus Pittsburgh, which is hockey and college basketball. So yeah, Cup COTA. Here is the lineup of pretty cool people in the race. You have an IMSA champ in Jordan Taylor. Yeah, he's an IMSA champion. You have two multi-time F1 champions in Kimi Räikkönen and Jenson Button, along with a full-time IndyCar driver in Connor Daly. Speaking of which, I'm gonna be watching the Texas IndyCar race. So, we're gonna watch a car flip. We're absolutely gonna watch a car flip. Absolutely. They had two big airborne crashes last year. Of course I'm gonna watch that. But Gunther Steiner was in the booth, who was the guy who was selling Russia the arms. So that's funny. He didn't talk though, tragically, probably because he only knows like 8 words in English. Despite being the American F1 team owner, he doesn't speak English. Well, he does ish. He can, I don't know, he can probably order a beer, but that's about it. Race was hyped up as fuck, and it was worth it. They had 20 drivers that raced in 2/3 of the NASCAR races at COTA. What does that mean? Oh, that makes sense. 20 drivers were doing double time in the Xfinity and Truck and Cup series. So 20 drivers were racing in at least 2 of those races, which I think is pretty cool. A lot of that was just Cup guys trying to get experience, but there's a few guys. I don't know names, but there was a few. On lap one, 2 weeks in a row, we've had a lap one crash. Well, nah, I don't know. Nah, that's dumb. I'm thinking about the Xfinity race, which doesn't correlate to the Cup race. Two completely different tracks. One's a super speedway, the other one's road course. But yeah, Jimmy Johnson, who is a 7-time NASCAR champion and I think now partner team owner. He was in the car and he almost got flubbed, big time. He got right reared, and because the car is electric and all the it's not electric, but I like to think it is. I like to think NASCAR is just pumping in noise. But yeah, he got hit in the right rear and the car almost flipped, which you know it just be happening. It just be happening. The car jumped up in the air a little bit, but I mean he got like right reared at 90 degrees. What do you expect? Um, 2 cars were out instantly. I think yeah, Jimmy Johnson suffered a toe link failure, which happens tremendously. I swear, bro, I was walking through the NASCAR. There was a guy walking through a NASCAR garage, tripped over, hit his knee against the the right rear of one of the cars, and it broke the toe link. Like, if you brush the wall the wrong way, the toe link breaks. Like, the car's like a fucking built Ford Tough, but it's not. Once the toe link breaks, the car's immediately crippled. But oh yeah, and the guy that hit Jimmy had the entire front half of his car ripped off, which I don't know. It wasn't that bad, but you get it. Caution came out, and a few laps after the green flag, Bubba Wallace made a driver error. I don't. Everyone's like, oh, his brakes failed. Everyone's talking like, oh, his brakes failed. Oh, he had an oil line failure. There was oil in the rear tire. No, he screwed it into the brake. He outbraked himself in the braking zone, lost the rear, and flew into Kyle Larson. And at the same time, there were people like, I can't believe Bubba just did that. He just Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson at the same time did the exact same thing. And what did he do? Oh yeah, I think flew. Yeah, Indianapolis road course. Like I must have that. He flew into the Indianapolis road course and killed Ty Dillon. Like 160 into a car going like 20. Surprisingly, they both lived, which was amazing. Surprisingly, they weren't scooped out of the car, honestly. But, yeah, Kyle Larson did do that, but people forget because, NASCAR fan, dumb. Both cars were heading to the pits. And now we get the Goofy incident, which I think is just a goof on everybody's part. Bubba Wallace was heading towards the pits, big mistake. Kyle Larson was all the way on the outside of the track. Like, he is all the way out there. I mean, he's got the broken... I don't know if he had a broken toe link. I think he just had a different suspension part failure. But Denny Hamlin, who owns Bubba Wallace's car, and at the same time, remember, both of these guys had a big crash together where Bubba right-hooked Kyle Larson into the wall. Denny comes out of the turn. Kyle Larson is all the way up on the outside. Like, off the track, which not really off the track because it's still in bounds, but you get it. All the way out, he sees Kyle Larson coming down, and he's coming down directly towards Bubba Wallace. Denny Hamlin says, "You're not going to hit my car, I won't allow it." Basically sticks his foot out and trips Kyle Larson and sends Larson into the inside wall, which at that point NASCAR said, you know what, we're throwing the caution because we ball. Like, screw it, we balling. Oh boy. All the NASCAR fans had like their own different opinions about it, which I think is cool. Like, that was pretty interesting, I won't lie. Honestly, pretty goofy incident. I don't think anybody was really. I think the only person that was really that much at fault was Bubba Wallace for making a minor mistake. And he did have that interview where he basically said, "Yeah, I suck. Made a driver error. I should be replaced." Which I think is just him poking fun at the people that tell the 2311 people to replace him. I think it was about that, but people took it the wrong way. Or maybe that's what he meant. We'll never know. But yeah, pretty tragic. But what can you do? The first 60 laps were amazing. I think it's a 66 lap race, which in car racing isn't very much, or in car racing is a lot, but 3.4 mile long racetrack, like that's like 300 miles. Race was definitely long enough, about super speedway length. Really good race. First 60 laps were amazing. And the race looked to come down to a 4 car battle for the win, which is amazing. All right, that was like, this is the best that could have ever happened. All right. If the race would have ended and you told me, like, if the race would have just ended there and you said, yeah, Tyler Reddick wins, I would have been like, all right, cool. Like, that's crazy. Like, something crazy must have happened. Which crazy did happen. Brad's car broke. I think he was going the wrong direction and he stopped it. I think Brad had spun like 4 times up to that point. Whenever Jimmy Johnson crashed, I think Brad was the one spinning beforehand. Like, he was involved in a lot of stuff. He was not doing very well. Which really sucks for him, but yeah, put out the caution. I think Brad just parked into the pits and said, fuck it, I'm out of here. I think Connor Daly also had a problem, and he came into the pits and said, fuck it, we're done for the day. Which, I mean, come on. And now, what ensued? The next 6 laps, or next 8 laps, including overtime, was the most horrendous racing I've ever seen in my life. Whenever they had the Indianapolis road course race, where every car crashed, like every car crashed on the restarts, and it just came down to whoever can survive the 8 wide race and wins. That race was like, okay, well, that seems like a problem. Hopefully they'll fix that. They didn't. They didn't fix it. I really wish it was last year because it didn't have much chaos, but oh god, dude. Every time they go through that turn, someone would get spun. Someone would get spun, then someone would hit them. That may not have ended their race, but they would get hit, and 2 cars were sent directly to the back out of pure chance. I mean, you have guys ducking like to the grass on a 70. What degree is that corner? That corner is like 130. Like, it is like it's not a right angle, it's like an acute angle. Like, it is a weird turn, and it's very difficult to get right. And people are just sending it in there. I mean, there's no respect. Like, Kyle Busch pointed this out, there's no respect in the garage. Like, you see these people coming down the track, and it's like, what's the point? What am I going to do, block it? Like, I think Alex Bowman said, I'd rather get hit in the back than hit in the door or get hit in the quarter panel. Like, what are you going to do? But yeah, it was pretty intriguing watching Suarez because Suarez was in 4th. And it was like, if Suarez goes to the outside, he's probably going to start 2nd on the outside. And if he goes to the bottom, then he's probably going to start 3rd or 4th on the bottom. Which basically means that he's going to get involved in a wreck. Suarez was screwed, and he ended up crashing. He ended up getting spun on one of the 4 restarts and sent straight to the back of the field. Which is a shame. Like you run really well all day, you have a car that can win the race, and then, you get screwed over because some idiot wants to dive bomb and make up 20 spots instantly. Which Ross did. I think Ross did that on the last restart. He went from like 27th to like 6th. And it works, but I just don't want to see that. Like, that just doesn't seem fun. When you know they're gonna crash every single time they do something, what's the point in watching? Like, I like crashes. I'm gonna be the first to admit it. I like watching cars crash, but that doesn't mean I want to see that every single race, every single time they do a restart. Like, come on. But yeah, several cars were destroyed. I think Fox didn't show a replay of one of the crashes. It was a crash late in the. It was like the last crash, the last one. It was Christopher Bell getting a severe like race-ending damage. Um, I think what happened was he spun around, and then I think Logano hit him from the back. I think they both just nosed into each other, and then a few people spun out with them. There's a fan view of it, I think, but you know, who cares? I don't want to watch that. But then Suarez started hunting people down. But before we mention this, Kurt Busch was fighting back tears the whole race. So that was towards the end. He was fighting back tears because what is happening? But I mean, like, yeah, Kurt Busch was fighting back tears. Like, that was Kurt Busch's old car with Tyler Reddick in it, and he's watching this car that he used to drive, a car that he should be in right now. He's watching it win, and he knows in his head that the only reason why he isn't in that car is because of the next gen's failure. Which, I mean, however, he kept his composure and he was like, great win for 2311. It was really sad. Like, it was really sad. But yeah, then Suarez started hunting people down. He hit Ross Chastain first, which is fair. I mean, Ross was like dive bombing in, and because of Ross dive bombing, he crashed out Suarez. And he also booted Suarez out the way with like 6 to go, which, you know, very teammate like. Good job, Ross. Um, and then he slammed into Alex Bowman a bunch of times down pit road, which he's probably gonna get fined for. You could tell it was on purpose. You could tell he was on purpose. Like, they didn't show it on the broadcast for some reason, but you could tell. Like, he was there to break something. He got out of the car and was like, "Hey, yo, Bowman, what the hell?" And Bowman was like, "Hey, that ain't my fault. Go talk to him." Then he went to Chastain and they both argued. No one could hear what they were saying, but you know, they were arguing. Very good. Ross had to do some like shenanigans in the post race interviews to try and get trying to get as little information out as possible, but the race could have been race of the year. I'm genuinely saying that. It had everything. It had side by side racing through, I think, side by side racing through. We're going to count the first 60 laps. We're just going to ignore the last part. It had great racing for the entirety. Like, it was either great racing or intriguing pit strategy. I think Tyler Reddick ended up having to do an extra stop, and he still won the race, which is great. And honestly, the broadcast was amazing. You got Kurt Busch, who has the most recent experience with the car. You have Gunther Steiner there because, you know, screw it, he's there. You have Mike Joy there. I mean, it was a pretty classic race. Mike Joy's done this a ton, like 100 times, and he's commentating the heck out of it. Clint Boyer has mauled down. He's watered down, but he's still Clint Boyer, and he's still making great comments. Like, you have two drivers and a great broadcaster, along with a NASCAR showing replays. They showed, I think they only missed one replay, which, I mean, come on, it was at the end of the race. No one cared. And great broadcast, honestly. Great broadcast. Very little green flag commercials, which I love. Now we get to March Madness. NCAA. Let's go. I'm at 43 minutes in my recording, but I'm probably going to shave 10 off of it, but yeah. NCAA March Madness. At that point, anyone in the Elite Eight had a chance to win. Let's not lie here. The only one that really stood out was UConn. And they still stand out. Like, UConn, my pick. My pick is UConn. Full, all the way. Whoever wins against... If someone does win against UConn, they're going to win it all. If Miami wins, if... Who is it? Who's in it? FAU, San Diego, and Miami, San Diego, FAU, and UConn. Alright. So let's break it down. UConn dominated Gonzaga, and they won the West. FAU is a threat. They're the giant killer. They won the East. San Diego State just had a great game against Creighton. Yeah, that was the game. That was the game I was talking about. Yeah, I saw that game. It was a pretty good game. I only saw the first half, but that was the game where the guy was dropping bombs the whole time. So yeah, they won the South. I don't know why Creighton, which is where Creighton's in Nebraska, and San Diego State is in, I don't know, Miami or some shit. For some reason they won the South. Then you have Miami. Miami's a monster. All right, they're really good. Miami's a threat as well. They're in the Midwest. I don't know. I make it make sense. But Jesus, hold on. Oh God, Spike. Oh God. But yeah, FAU shutting down Kansas State's disgusting offense is pretty scary. My pick is UConn. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And now we get to the lightest of all of it. Washington versus Pittsburgh. I only really watched the fight. That's it. That's my first fight I've ever seen in a hockey match, which didn't really disappoint, but could have been better. I mean, it wasn't like top tier like MMA fight, but it was alright. It was pretty mid. So yeah, that'll be it, everybody. Thank y'all for watching the Weekly Sports Network. Follow me on Twitter at WSN and or at Weekly Sports Network. Signing out.